I didn't expect to come back tonight. I just threw together, I think, a good show for you tonight. We're gonna have a good show because this is just too much news, too much. It's almost gonna be a celebration tonight. I think you've seen it. You've seen it on the show. What's been going on? A lot of us have been threatened. We talked about that a little bit. I did, and tonight we may have maybe a couple other people, maybe one. We'll see. That have also been threatened. And tonight, with this news from Ted Daniel, Boston 25. They confirmed it. Massachusetts State Police Internal Affairs has opened an investigation into Trooper Michael Proctor. He's the lead investigator on the Karen Reed case. I know some folks like Kevin are just going to continue to spin this, but tick, tick, boom. I mean, and then what's fun about this? It's everyone's going to get the fuck down. Big news today. Huge news. There it is. I got to say, it feels good. It feels good. I know the other side is going to say this is nothing. It's a formality. There's so much to come on this. Tonight's a celebration. Do you see the Boston Globe story too? I want to shout out Microdots. Last night we were talking about people who have stood up and, some of the great people in this movement, I guess, and Microdots. Check out his YouTube. He's another one. I also want to make sure that we support Janelle Webb at Z Dispatcher on Venmo. If you want to give donations, give her a donation tonight, or Aiden Carney, the Canton 9, and freekarenreed.net. I'm going to be throwing up some different tickers tonight, places you can donate, because we also have some campaigns right now related to all this. So we're going to throw up a bunch of tickers tonight. So this is the part where if you want to donate, give at Z Dispatcher on Venmo some money, or the Canton 9, freekarenreed.net, or you can find Turtle Boys, Give, Send, Go, Aiden Carney. All right, let's so now, I mean, we're looking at this. This is just amazing. It really is amazing. And it feels good because we've been talking about Elizabeth Proctor a lot lately on Twitter, on whether you call it X, I guess, and also on the show. And this is a woman that called people's workplaces. This is a woman that was instigating the wife of the state police officer that's now under internal affairs. I hope they look at what his wife did too. I have a feeling the feds might. There's going to be so much. The feds are delivering. They said the feds weren't coming. The feds have come. The feds have come. And the feds are going to keep coming. Like, this is just like, it's like when George Bush attacked Iraq the first time. Like, the first day they would just bomb them for like, an hour or two and just destroy them. But the next day they would give them a day off, and then they would just destroy them for like 20 days in a row. Like, that's what the feds are going to do on this. There's a good question right here. Mike, do you think the internal affairs will truly investigate or no? It's a really good question. It's something we're going to talk about a little bit right now. Because what else happened today that was huge? It's going to be another hearing. I don't know if it's going to be actually public or private. Like, it almost seems like it might be a sealed hearing type deal. We won't even get to see it. But we know that there's going to be a hearing, and it's going to be about people's phones. And it's Kevin, Brian, Chief Berkowitz, and the Massachusetts State Police, the Internal Affairs Group themselves. So it seems like they're now kind of the subject So, will Internal Affairs really investigate? I hope they do for their own sake, because it seems like they're under investigation. And I wouldn't doubt if the feds are looking at them too. So it almost doesn't matter because the federal government is going to do the investigation, you know? And maybe our attorney general, if she actually decides to get involved, which I hope she does. Sandra Birchmore, what's going on with that? There's been this last week has just been story after story good for us. It's been amazing for Karen Reed. This I wanted to talk about because this is Rule 17 motion to subpoena these phones over here. Kevin Albert, Canton police officer, Brian Higgins, ATF officer, Brian Albert, the Boston police officer who retired, who was the homeowner. And who else's phone? State police. And also Canton Chief of Police Berkowitz. They're going to have a hearing on this. And you saw Yannetti and Jackson in court yesterday. I mean, can you imagine? I don't know how the Norfolk County DA continues at this point. The longer they go, the more investigations they're going to create on themselves. Yeah, lots of eyes looking at them. And you know what's great? For months now, I've been worried about the black SUVs. Every time I see one, a Chevy, a Tahoe, I hope they're worried about the black Chevy Tahoes. You guys are right on the spot tonight. You know why I'm doing my little intro. I want to make sure I cover all my bases. This is the other thing. This dude stood. I mean, he took 60 days. They put all this shit everywhere. And tomorrow he has court at 9 a.m. They're going to try to throw him in jail tomorrow. So, after all what we know at this point, I hope it's the largest crowd ever for Turtle Boy tomorrow. 9 a.m. in court. And I want to talk about this Tim Bradle. If you haven't seen it, he had a great response about court yesterday that we posted on our Facebook page, on the Young Jurks on our Facebook page. You can read it all there. Here's some of it. This is, from the beginning to end of what he said. And one of the biggest things he says, Aiden was right all along and has suffered greatly. We should thank him for facing down this dragon. I mean, that says it all. We should all thank him for what he did on this. Sean on the golf, too. A lot of other people. We may have some of those other people, like even just people who have been just average supporters of this. I would say hundreds of people have been threatened by law enforcement on this. I mean, that's how insane this got. So tomorrow, Aiden has his court hearing, 9 a.m. I hope people show up. And tonight is a celebration because Aiden was right. Sean was right. I was right, I guess. I know I wavered for a second, but I never stopped believing. I just needed a break. I need to figure out if sometimes you don't trust your own instincts, and you need to make sure, and that's all I did. And it all checked out. Let's look. Mazza Media's here. Let's bring him up right now.
Mike, good evening. Thankful to be back.
What's up, my friend? How you doing tonight?
Doing very good, very good. Had a good evening here tonight. So I got an invite to come on the show, and my schedule was good tonight. So here I am back again to discuss more breaking news that's come out this week. It's been a big week. It's been really been something else.
What did you think about this news tonight? This
I'm actually a little shocked that the state police is they're actually going to investigate him. But I was listening into the show when I was getting ready, and I just made a note that I wanted to say on this show, and I was fixing it up just before I came on, and this is the statement I want to make. When the powers that be are found out, they will begin to eat their own who are on the hierarchy beneath them. That means the state police. What they're doing now is that, well, the feds are on this. So now basically what they should have done over the last 2 years is investigate him. They shouldn't be investigating him now. They should have been investigating him 20 something months ago, over 24 months ago. This is all now because guess what? They've been found out. And now what you're going to start to see happen now is that, oh yeah, it was Mike, and this cop was we did our own internal affairs, and we found out Michael Proctor now is he his whole thing was just corrupt, and we gotta, they're disowning him now because they're being found out. And when they're found out, they're going to get dropped by those beneath them because the state police cannot afford to take the hit along with them. So those are my thoughts, and it just came to my mind while I was listening into the show, and I wanted to make sure I said this. And like I said, I wrote it out because I wanted to say it very specifically, and that's just the case because they can only do favors for each other so long within that, where they just have to dump them and say, "Sorry, Mike, you're on your own now. We can't go down with you." They were willing to cover it up as long as they could, so long as they did not get found out. Now this is where it's basically, you're on your own now, Mr. Proctor.
Yeah,
Best of
it's
luck.
shocking, isn't it? Now that just after yesterday, it's funny. The Kevins of the world want to make like yesterday was nothing, but it was so bombastic that this guy all of a sudden is now under investigation. I mean,
Right.
that's how.
Right. March 13th, 2024, many, many, many months after he conducted his investigation at 34 Fairview Road. That's that's just very amusing to me. And that's something I've always wondered, if this was going to happen, where all of a sudden everything was just going to fall all of a sudden, and they're just going to, they're going to start to just basically disown each other. This whole movement, like, even for example, how supportive, and this has been on my mind all day. I actually just, quoted a video that we had last night of Sean McDonough, who was on this show, talking about the O'Keefe family, and just basically an eye-opening day at that hearing yesterday. Now all of a sudden the McAlberts were not there, and that was the biggest thing about that. And I watched one of the clips of Turtle Boy with LTL and Glare from yesterday, and it was one that Turtle Boy posted on his YouTube page, which was basically like, that's why she wasn't there. That's why she wasn't there, because they must have known somehow that this information was going to come out about that Google search indeed being valid. And this is exactly what's happened. And all along, the uh, the O'Keefe family have been unfortunate pawns in the McAlberts game this entire time. And they, to the eyes of those of us that are not educated on the free Karen movement, the general population of Massachusetts and wherever that are not educated to this, they've had the O'Keefe family, the victim's family, quote unquote, on their side. So they've been able to kind of parade around with the O'Keefe family and make it seem like, well, guess what? We're the good guys here because we have the victim's family on our side, and we know Karen Reed. Now that they've essentially lost that, which was so clear as day yesterday, that none of the McAlberts were at that hearing, and the O'Keefe family was there and that whole group, now that they've been, put themselves with the O'Keefe family, has now been ruptured. Now that this FBI information has come out, and it's shaking their core now. This whole cover up at this point, as we've seen this week, is the ground beneath them is shaking like the highest magnitude earthquake, like the San Andreas fault
It's
was
over.
falling into the
Yeah,
Pacific Ocean.
yeah.
That's what's happening.
does it feel vindicating to all of us who have, stood strong? I mean, we had an onslaught. There are a lot of nasty, mean people on social media who have been attacking a lot of us and threatening us.
Yeah.
And doesn't it feel vindicating?
It absolutely does, and, I'm not gonna be one to rub it in their face, but I am gonna be one to celebrate we were right all along. I am gonna celebrate that. I
Exactly.
won't I won't rub the salt in their wounds and stick it in their face as much as that might feel good, but at the same time, they, they've just run a campaign against this, against Karen Reed, against Turtle Boy, against you, me, and everyone in the comment section, everyone with the Twitter account, everyone
Even
that's
just yeah,
ever.
just average
Yeah,
people too. Like,
yeah,
we may hear from Katie tonight, who Turtle Boy featured on his blog recently. Like,
excellent.
there's so many people like that. Look, John
Yep,
Como, just even some of the women of Canton.
yep.
I mean, we should talk. I mean, I have the video. I want to talk about what happened last
It was
night.
amazing
Did
last
you
night.
see that? What did you think about that last night,
I
that Canton Select Board?
I was loving it. It to me, it was a tale of 2 moments. It was Jennifer O'Donnell and Kristen taking on Chris Albert, and that for me was one part of it. And the other part of it was when it basically erupted in utter chaos, for 2 reasons. One, the way they were talking about our side of the ball, and then also additionally when the Canton Select Board decided to cop out because they couldn't control the meeting and didn't like the way it was going and didn't allow our people on our side to voice their opinion afterwards. And something that really stuck out to me, and I put it right on my X page last night. I'm like, they copped out again. They shut it down. I like that guy that got up at the end and he got on the microphone and called out the select board. He's like, don't think we don't see what you're doing. That was beautiful. I was like, my fist was in the air, just like, you right on, brother. Get him, get him. I love, and this has been one of the best parts about everybody in this movement. Like, we're a family. Like I said yesterday, we're all in this together, and anytime any one of us steps up at any level, it's a great moment. And I just, last night was amazing, and it was. What's interesting is that Rita Lombardi kind of just said, you know what, I think I'll kick back tonight and let Jen take care of this tonight, and that was very notable. And Rita's been very vocal, but she took a night to just kind of maybe defer to let everybody else get the opportunity because there was lines on both sides that were like 4 or 5 people deep. But Jen O'Donnell, she is now, like, I've always had a nickname for Rita Lombardi, which is heroic Canton resident Rita Lombardi. Jennifer O'Donnell now has her own nickname that I coined last night. Badass Canton resident Jennifer O'Donnell. That's what I will be referring to her on my X page moving forward. Badass
Hmm.
resident. Yeah, she was
She
awesome.
is the badass.
Absolutely awesome.
What did you think about that guy, Paul?
Paul was, which one was Paul now? That was the guy with the blue shirt, or was that the guy that was on the right side with Jennifer O'Donnell?
He
Paul.
was on the right side.
Yes, him. So he, I was cool with him months ago. So there was, Turtle Boy on his live stream last night when he played back the video you had recorded for the meeting, recognized him right away. And this guy was first seen at the select board meeting where Turtle Boy was there with all the signs, and he was near Chris Albert. Then he followed Chris Albert, and Chris shut the door, and then it went out in the parking lot, and old man Stone Cold,
Yeah.
old Stone Cold got in his face.
Eclipse. Grandpa Eclipse, they call
Grandpa
him.
Eclipse, yeah.
Peter Hennessy. Peter
Yes,
Hennessy.
him. He's like, "I'm old Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm an old
Yeah.
time badass." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
sit down, man. Sit
Yeah,
down."
sit down. You sold TV ads, dude. You're a TV advertising sale guy.
So that after that incident happened between Grandpa Eclipse and Turtle Boy, there's an additional clip that Turtle Boy had posted. That guy, Paul McCullough, I believe his name is,
Yes.
was in the circle of people in a conversation, and he was playing it. And Turtle Boy said this numerous times. He said, "He seems like a cop to me." Someone, Tracy just said he's a corrections officer. That's
He
what I
is.
heard
That's what
too.
he says, yeah.
He was playing it in the parking lot after that select board meeting. Like, he was completely neutral, like he was
Exactly.
impartial. He was just there to collect information. And I always say people that try to pretend to be neutral normally aren't. They just don't want people to know what side they're on. They just want to kind of promote themselves like that. And I kind of had my eyebrow raised at that guy. He made some decent points to Turtle Boy, but it was very passive and
Exactly.
undereducated in terms to the greater point. And when I saw him last night, we saw him in his true form. what side he was truly on, what he truly believed. And he has, as much as I hate to say it, he has the right to his opinion just like anybody else. But he was very forthcoming about his side now, just like I kind of suspected going back many months ago. And just, looking at Jen, don't ever say bad things about my family ever. It's just, I don't know what she said or didn't say, but that guy was no better with the way he was kind of looking at her last night and reading to her and all that stuff. So and
It
I
was
just,
strange. It was bizarro. Like, he was
yeah,
looking at her like, "I'm sorry." Like, I don't know. It just seemed really bizarro. And then when he went to, like, move forward to the other woman,
mm,
you don't step. It looked like he was stepping, like, physically trying to intimidate them. And
yeah,
a lot of times his behavior, as what I've seen, is intimidating. Like, he stands behind them and he looks like he's angry. Like,
yeah,
it's like the way he stares at them.
right.
It's inappropriate.
I've never seen in the public eye, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm not as educated as I should be. I've never seen women get pushed around, or men try to push around. Maybe rephrase that. Men try to push around women like this.
Yeah.
There's a parent journalist out there that has been stalking Olivia Lambo and Jess Machado all over X.
Grant Smith Ellis. I'll
That
say his
must be
name.
him. Oh, there we go. Say it.
He has a history of this.
Yes.
He does. He has a history,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think we know why.
Yeah. Going after them, and the other guy there, Mr. Fails, he does it too. He goes after women all the time. They're pushing around women, and it's ridiculous. And I can't imagine carrying myself like that, like they do, and it's just ridiculous. What I've seen out there and the behavior, and it's just absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. And it's nothing but stalking. It's borderline stalking coming from.
Why is it always women too? Like, I all my beef is always with men. I I don't I like, especially the leaning in. Like, I think Turtle Boy said it best. Like, tough guy. Like, he's acting
Yeah,
like a tough guy. Like,
yeah,
Paul acting like a tough guy.
yeah.
Paul, you're not a tough guy when you're fighting women. Like, you're
Even
not a tough guy. And
Chicken Parm Charlie last night. You
yeah.
ought to be embarrassed. You ought
Yeah.
to be embarrassed to
I mean,
Jennifer O'Donnell.
what a
Yeah,
bozo. What a
yeah.
bozo Chris Albert is.
Oh
Dude,
yeah,
you've been delinquent with your taxes in public. You've harassed tons of people like myself, with your threats, with through third parties. You never have the balls to do it uh in person or with a letter to me. You just did it with through anonymous trolls on Twitter
right.
and other jackasses that back you, that we know who they are. And
Yeah,
that's the type of shit you've been doing to people. We believe you sent letters to the citizens, the women of
right.
Canton. Uh, you know, it just so much of the stuff with this guy. Jen even called him out on. Here he used that woman to shield himself from, to set Turtle Boy up.
Yeah,
And
that's
with a
right.
big smile on his face.
She pulled his punk card last night. She absolutely pulled his punk
He's
card,
a
and she hit
punk.
it.
That's
Oh
exactly
yeah,
it. He
yeah,
is a punk. Chris
yeah,
Albert, you're a punk.
yeah.
And I like what Sean McDonough said too. He's the, what was it? The underachiever. He's the underachiever of the Albert clan.
The second best brother.
He
Yeah,
certainly is.
yeah. He might even be the third most successful because I believe the other one's a cop as well. So, oh, yeah, it's just ridiculous. That man has been so passively aggressive for so long. He'll
And
turn
done
around and call the
nothing.
cops.
And
Yeah,
done nothing on the select board.
yeah. Oh, he
Like,
just
that's
sits
the
there.
bottom line for me. What have you done for public service on that select board this year, Chris? But say vote yes,
Yep.
5-0. That's all you do. You
Right.
don't speak. The only time you speak is to say
Right.
something inappropriate and ridiculous, which you
Correct.
did like 3 meetings ago. You finally
Correct.
friggin' spoke and it was ridiculous, like it
Right.
always is. Or you say nothing. You sit there and play with your coffee. You contribute nothing, and then you friggin' yell at
Yeah.
someone who spanked your ass and say they're embarrassing. No, you're embarrassing. You've been embarrassing for months. You should have resigned from the select board,
Yeah.
but you guys are so friggin' weak with your fake tough guy shit.
Oh yeah. Not impressed. And again, the only most he said on that select board was last night when he was rebuttaling to Jennifer O'Donnell about being embarrassing. I'm like, is that? I actually thought it was John Connolly at first. It wasn't until like a second or third watch where I said to myself, and then I saw confirmation coming out online. It was actually Chris. I thought, I'm like, is John Connolly? Why was John Connolly stepping up on his behalf for? And finally, I came to the fact that it was Chris stepping up there and trying to shoot down. But I love when Jen said, embarrassed, embarrassed. And she kept saying that back to him. And earlier when she said, yeah, keep smiling, Chris. Keep smiling. That was a
Keep
great moment.
smiling.
Yeah.
Now,
And
I want to note, because we're talking about Jennifer O'Donnell right now. We just put up she's got a campaign for a school committee. You can donate to her campaign. We have it up on the screen if you want to look for it. She's got a way you can donate to that school committee campaign. We're also going to, I think, put Rita's campaign up too. But they both have that donor box, donorbox.org. Just look them up, Jennifer O'Donnell. You'll find it.